The 1563 Witchcraft Act in Scotland was written and enacted by a group of people who didn't believe in witches. In 1560, Scotland had changed its religion. It had gone from being a Roman Catholic country to being a Presbyterian Protestant country. Presbyterianism was a strict form of Protestantism, and the government of the day enacted a series of laws which were designed to outlaw what they saw as superstitious practices. This included many aspects of Catholic worship, as well as quite a lot of the old folk beliefs of the country. Presbyterians don't believe in saints, and if you don't believe that lighting a candle for a saint or praying to a saint's relic would have any effect at all, it's a fairly short step from that to not believing that witches' spells and cantrips would have any effect either. So the purpose of the Witchcraft Act was to stop people from being distracted from what the authorities of the day saw as the proper forms of worship and the proper forms of appeal to the divine, and also, to some extent, to stop the gullible from being conned by people claiming to practice witchcraft. Folk belief in witchcraft, however, faded more slowly than the official version would like, and people in Scotland continued in some ways to believe in and to practice witchcraft in spite of this act. When we come to the time of James VI, he was King of Scotland, and he definitely did believe in witches. In 1590, he was travelling home from Denmark with his new bride, Anne, when his ship was caught in terrible storms. Now, anybody with any sort of familiarity with the Scottish weather or the North Sea wouldn't regard terrible storms in the North Sea as being particularly unusual, let alone supernatural. But James VI was completely convinced that these storms were caused by witches who were trying to kill him and his wife. And he instituted the notorious North Berwick witch trials, which resulted in the deaths of some 70 people. One of the people caught up in the North Berwick witch trials was Barbara Napier. The Napier family lived in Wright's houses in Bruntsfield in Edinburgh. Barbara Napier was a gentlewoman, and she was married to a local burgess, Archibald Douglas. One of the accused witches, Agnes Sampson, under torture, named several other women, including Barbara Napier. So she was brought in for questioning. She admitted to having consulted Agnes Sampson for charms to protect her husband when he was out at war, and also another charm to ingratiate her with her employer, and one also to deal with sickness. The court found that she had sought the advice of witches, but that she was not a witch herself. James VI, however, did not like this verdict. It didn't suit his objectives, which included prosecuting the Earl of Bothwell, and he needed Barbara Napier to be implicated for the charges against Bothwell to stick. So he threatened the jurors with being put on trial themselves for colluding with witches. As a result of this, Barbara Napier was then convicted of witchcraft. She then said that she was pregnant, which would have got her out of being executed. In general, this would result at the time in a stay of execution and the person being released. James VI wrote a furious letter to the authorities in Edinburgh, insisting that a full medical examination be carried out on Barbara, and that if she was found to be faking the pregnancy, that the sentence was to be carried out immediately. It's at this point that Barbara disappears from the historical record. We have no record of her execution. We also have no record of her life after this time. So her fate remains unknown.